in general, us as entrepreneurs, we tend to overcomplicate things, and kind of having that kind of funnel, like almost bumpers while you're bowling, keeps you kind of on track, kind of get rid of any of the shiny object syndrome, and just keep your focus aligned as well, and energy.
We take a very sort of hands-on approach in terms of kind of look at going through the practical, tactical stuff of having marketing assets and what are your core products and how do you generate revenue from it and things like that. But all of that starts with a goal setting exercise, like pure and simply, because it is remarkable. I mean, it's not surprising, but a lot of business owners, they don't have a business MBA or even a business degree, to fall back on. But what happened was their mum or their aunt or their brother or whoever said, "You're really good at art. Have you ever thought about setting up a graphic design business?" So they go out and they start doing it, but it's that without any kind of real intention of like, I make some money, I can pay for my coffees and stuff like that. They don't really know why they're doing it, and they don't know like the ends either, so that there's no means to an end. So we get them to start straight away with, like, some people find it very contrite talking about money all the time, but actually starting with a financial goal in mind, and then that kind of, I guess, sets the landscape, the route in order to be able to get to that goal. How do you kind of help those service businesses to kind of start to articulate like why they're doing what they're doing?
Goal setting and just kind of trying to dig under the why is always important, and just kind of getting clarity on like where you want to go. I think that's a big one. I also leverage this kind of tool originally from Clay Collins, who built lead pages called the 5 Ones. And if you're familiar with that, that's actually extremely helpful to bring a lot of clarity to especially people who are starting out. So if you're not familiar, it's essentially kind of focusing on one core avatar, one core offer, having one core funnel, one core traffic source, and then essentially doing that for 1 year. So those are kind of the 5 Ones. I kind of modify doing it for 90 days because oftentimes you're testing, and once you find something that clicks, the goal is to kind of double down on that. So that's actually been really impactful for people, and something I kind of circle back to, because I think in general, us as entrepreneurs, we tend to overcomplicate things, and kind of having that kind of funnel, like almost bumpers while you're bowling, it keeps you kind of on track, kind of get rid of any of the shiny object syndrome, and just keep your focus aligned as well, and energy.
Yeah, I was smiling then, Tyler, because I had a conversation with somebody not 2 hours ago where it was like, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this, I could do this. And I was like, no, the first thing you said was absolutely fine. I think you should try that out first, like see it through. I don't know how old you are, Tyler, but I'm of the age like of marketing where my first business, like in 2004, you could build a website, get a business card and rock up to a networking meeting and you could get clients. We didn't have all this fun stuff like Facebook and Instagram and all the other multitude of tools. And even now like Clubhouse as well. I don't know if you've discovered that. So yeah, trying to keep entrepreneurs focused on like one thing and for a short time period. Like I love the 12-week year, and that 90-day sprint sort of concept is so valid.
Yeah, I'm a huge fan of that as well. I made a lot of stuff, whether goal setting, it's like, cool, what do we want to accomplish in this year? But then also like, now let's break it down, reverse engineer it, and kind of work on those 90-day sprints. I found that as well to be like a great kind of medium to work within, because, so much changes, especially nowadays, and that keeps you kind of nimble as you're building as well. So huge fan as well of that.
Listen, I want to dig into your, the businesses which you used to run. So sort of your journey into doing what you do now for those service-based businesses, but you ran or were a part of 2 businesses, Content Pros and Applause Lab.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about that and what that 15-year journey looked like.
Yeah, so those were kind of more recent, probably in the last 6 years, both of those businesses. But yeah, so Content Pros was essentially a productized content writing service where we focused mainly on like charging a little bit premium fee, but focusing more on thought leadership kind of based content. So that one was really fun to build. We ended up scaling that to about 125 writers in various industries. And then about 2 years ago, we sold that business. And then shortly after that, just out of pain points that I had with that business, I realized how difficult it was getting social proof video testimonials. And I launched Applause Lab, which essentially was a productized service helping you, done for you service, helping you gather and produce video testimonials. So that one was really fun to build and kind of dive back in. Only ran that for about 13 months, and then a competitor bought us. Didn't expect that to happen so fast. Yeah.
What did you take out of the work you did in Content Pros that made Applause Lab, so successful and so attractive to your competitor in such a short space of time?
The more you are in business, like the faster you're able to execute things, especially the second, third, fourth time around. So that one was like back to the intention question. That was like, I wanted to build that one to sell, but oftentimes when I talk about that, it's also building, having a long-term mindset. It's building a business to sell, even if you never wanted to, you could. So you have that like optionality. So that was a big part of it just from the beginning, from like hiring, setting up systems, processes, the way the business was organized, like all of those just kind of really helped set the business up for success from the start. When someone approached me to potentially buy it, it was just, it made it incredibly easy. And also a lot of those things made the business a lot more attractive. So I've got this like productized exit checklist that I created of like, okay, here's the exact like 19 things that are going to impact the value of your business
Nice.
that you want to work on over the next X years. And the more of these you check off, the more valuable your business is going to be in the eyes of, let's say, an investor, et cetera. So I think that also was something that I outlined after selling the first business, and was like, okay, why did someone want to buy this? And not only why were people fighting over to buy this business? So that was kind of gave me a good outline of this exit checklist. And now I have that. And that's what I help a lot of people implement. Because if you have a business that's someone's willing to fight over to buy, it's usually a great business to have.
100%.